purpose of the show is basically just sort of like the showing and telling of a period of research and development that I've been exploring throughout a bit of last year. A fundamental realisation I had a while ago when I produced a piece of work around shoes and stories of people in shoes, and I was like, well, I have a shoe, my story is a skateboarder, shoe, concrete. I was like, oh, that seemed like without even really thinking about it. And it was when I produced that particular piece of work, I kind of realised, you know, I have this 20-year relationship with concrete through skateboarder and also as a graffiti and as a street artist. So that's kind of what the show is about. It's just an exploration of techniques, processes, and materials, and I just explored those things through my experience as a skateboarder and a street artist. I've always found it difficult when people ask me, what is it you do as an artist? And I think I've never been able to give them an answer because I tend to just go from thing to thing. I just like to explore different ways of producing ideas and just of working for the sake of doing it. I've never really limited myself in terms of like I am an illustrator or graffiti. Do you know what I mean? I've never kind of said, oh, I'm conceptual, or like I'm not really interested in that kind of stuff. I'm kind of, and I wouldn't even describe myself as a street artist. I do street art, and it's actually where I came from as a graffiti artist. You know, just for years, just doing, you know, working in the streets doing that. But that's graffiti, and street art is something that's different to graffiti. So it's difficult to sort of say I am any one particular type of artist, and that's kind of what this show is about. For me personally, it's not so much trying to describe or explain to an audience. I'm trying to develop my own language, visual language, out of all of these disconnected themes, practices, processes, materials. They're all disconnected, and I'm trying to bring them together to make a coherent sense of producing, I suppose, so that it gives me a way of exploring all these different ideas that ultimately, as these artworks kind of pop out of running these processes, that they kind of have a connection with each other. The exhibition looks absolutely nothing like I imagined that it would look like at the beginning. And even when I was installing the show, I was like, oh, this hasn't got enough concrete in it. You know? But actually, you're right. It appears everywhere. Actually, the concrete's kind of come out in the show in a lot of ways. It's quite subtle. It's not like on the board. It's fixed together with cement. And like on the skateboards, it's like a cement marquetry where it's been infilled. You know, that large wooden edge bearing, there's a bit of it there. You know, the piece behind me, they kind of look like slabs of concrete, but they're not. That's canvas, which is really weird to see concrete wobble like that. I don't know. In itself, is something interesting. This guy, South Bank steer, because on opposite the Key Theatre is the Peterborough South Bank area, and that's been, for the last few years, it's been a skate spot of choice for the local skate scene. It's where the old buildings used to be, the B&Q building and stuff like that. So the floor there, which used to be where the warehouse was, really nice, really smooth, flat concrete. So and it's an abandoned lot which has been developed now. But back last year, I think in around September time, I went out there looking for some materials and took lots of photographs of the space, and I collected a whole bunch of stuff, like all broken boards that have been left there and everything else. And as soon as I found, like, this is a door handle, this front door, and those are like chair legs and some handlebars and furniture, some wood. Like, as soon as I found the door piece, I was like, that's definitely something with horns. I kind of could see it, but it was actually ended up making this about 2 nights before the show opened, because it was one of those things that kind of happened where I was producing everything alongside each other, so I didn't really have any finished pieces up until about maybe 2 weeks before the show, because everything had been done up to a point, and then I'd have to stop and kind of, it's not quite right, and it was producing the next piece of work, getting that moved on, which fed into the next bit, which is why everything in the show kind of talks to each other so much, I think. But this piece just, I kind of could see it in the corner of my eye the whole time. It was it left all the pieces outside on the floor, outside the front of the studio, right? There was a walk past every day, I was sort of saying, yeah, it's something, but it's not quite right. And it was just literally came together a couple of days before the show, and it just was like, yeah, it goes together like this, and I just like chop, fix, done. There you go. Because it came about in that fashion, it was very organic, the way that the piece actually came together. And it's literally made from things that I found from the South Bank skate spot, and just a couple of bits that are left over from the process of doing the show. So it was quite minimal. It's actually a lot more detailed. There was a whole bunch of other stuff on it, actually, and I pulled it all down to just like kind of the simplest form. Yeah,